Welcome to It's Personal Finance Canada. I'm Christine Conway.
And I'm Cameron Conway.
And this podcast is a very personal look at personal finance in Canada. Welcome to It's Personal Finance Canada. I'm Christine Conway, here with Cameron Conway. And if you're in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, or the Yukon, feel free to find us at braunfinancial.com. So today we want to talk about how to build wealth. I mean, wealth means so many things to so many different people, wouldn't you say, Cam?
Yeah, it sure does. But I think the number one way to get wealth in this world right now is just to already have the wealth.
Already have the money, or born rich, that helps too, right? Or marry into wealth. I'm sure there's a lot of legitimate ways to make a lot of money. But no, today is for the rest of us, those that have to build it. Those that kind of start middle of the road or start with very little or start with nothing, kind of like Cam and I did, and have to figure out the knowledge part of it, figure out how money works and how to create something meaningful for themselves.
Yeah, so today we want to talk about some of the tools to help you build your own source of wealth to get that nest egg going, and some of the disciplines and some of the practices to help cultivate actually having some money left over to have something left over.
Well, and I want to talk about the number one place that we see people get stuck. But before we do, I want to talk about what I view wealth to be. Because I mean, like I said, talk to 10 different people and I'm sure you're going to get 10 different answers. So I define wealth as having enough assets to support your lifestyle. So pay your bills, pay all your expenses. And I'm looking not just at the asset, but the cash flow that you can generate from that asset. And when I think about this, I'm separating this from your ability to go out every day and earn an income. So what can your assets do for you? And once we start thinking about it that way in terms of the assets generating something for you, then your job is to pick the right assets, build into those assets, and figure out how large or how many assets, depending on the asset class you use, you need to accomplish your objectives.
Yeah, so a lot of this is going to boil down to decision-making skills. And that's kind of the hope today, is to help you hone that edge a little bit so you're making the right choices for the right reasons so you can make all of this work in your own life, hopefully.
And to separate wealth you have to work for versus wealth that is based on your previous efforts. So actions you've taken in the past to build something for the future. So while this is a conversation about how we build, it's also a conversation about how we spend. And that brings us to the number one problem that I see with people when they're talking about why they feel stuck and why they can't seem to get ahead financially. So let's flush out this problem. The problem for me is that we all have limited resources. There's only so much coming in for most of us, and you need so much money to survive. So there's kind of a progression or stages that we go through as we're trying to build our wealth. So that's what I'm going to go through a bit today. And the first stage where we all start is in survival mode. Seems pretty self-explanatory, hey Cam?
Yeah, if you want to get a little philosophical, this is essentially the I spend, therefore I am phase. I know it's a little early for Kant, or when you're listening to it, it'd be too late for Kant. It's never the right time for Kant.
It's never the right time. But survival mode is exactly that. It's the spending mode. It's characterized by I don't have enough. There's lack. I want it, but I can't have it. So there's no thought to the future, or maybe it's I really, really wish I could get to this place where I feel okay financially, but you're stuck in this sense of my money is going towards now. The anxiety exists now. And when there's an unexpected bill or something breaks down, something goes wrong, or there's something coming up like a special occasion or Christmas, happens every year, what are we going to do to find that money?
Yeah, this is the time in your life where money is essentially like playing the game of hot potato. You get it in your hand, you have to throw it away as fast as you can to someone else who throws it away, and eventually it gets back to you somehow, or it's gone forever. Who knows?
It's actually a perfect analogy because it kind of It perfectly illustrates how quickly we spend every single cent that we have when we're stuck in survival mode. And sometimes in survival mode, you're trying to scrape together that few bucks to either pay down the credit card or the debt or whatever it might be, or even to put into savings, but it never feels like enough. And you always find yourself having to spend what you've put away on that next thing that comes up. And this is where we start to see mentality changes. And this is when you're in there for a long time, you get stuck in these thought cycles. And the thought cycles are things like, this is never going to change. It's always going to be this way. I can't catch a break. It's not going to work for me. And when you get thought in these thought loops, this is when you're having this expectation of something going wrong, and this expectation that an unexpected expense is going to come, and it's just a repeating cycle.
Yeah, and this is where a lot of people usually start off with, and this is the hardest part to get through. And there is sort of like those psychological barriers that can kind of keep you trapped in this kind of mentality, right?
Absolutely. I think the trap happens when you start to believe that you can't change the outcome, and that nothing that I do is going to be enough, or nothing that I do is going to move the needle or get me to that place where it actually makes a difference. But this is where I would say you can get out. It's just knowing how.
This is the point where you voted for every single political party and nothing has changed.
Oh, no. This is the point where you can't make up your mind, so you've tried 20 different things. And this is where you have to double down and kind of look at yourself. And yes, it's hard to do. And yes, it sucks to have to do. But at the same time, if the odds truly are stacked against you, what can you do to move out of this? And there is a universal step that we all can take to move out of survival mode. And there really is only one clear way out, unless you get lucky and inherit a bunch of money, or win the lottery, or otherwise get a windfall, or cut your expenses dramatically.
It's by subscribing to this podcast.
Like and follow, 5 stars. No, it's to create, well, yes, that helps too, but to create extra cash flow. And the reason it helps to subscribe to the podcast is because we'll give you great ideas like this to show you how. Shameless plug. Creating extra cash flow. So this is more money coming in than you need to live. So this means you're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to grind like crazy temporarily. You're going to have to take a hard look at your skill sets, work that overtime. But before you invest heavily in a new way of creating money, think about who's going to buy it. How much will they pay for it? Is the grind worth it? People always confuse their passions, the things that they love. They're like, oh, I'm really good at this. I can make so much money. I fall into that trap all the time. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's who will want this, number one, and who will pay for it? And will they pay enough to you to make it meaningful that you spend your time on that activity? So business, in my mind, is the number one way to build wealth. But like I said, it's not about what you want to create. It's actually an act of service towards someone else.
Yes, this is sort of the whole Etsy culture where you have your hobby, you want to make the things you want to make, but at the same time, you want people to buy them. So there's a bit of that compromise of what do I enjoy versus what people will actually spend money on.
What do they need and what will they pay for? Exactly.
And how much will it disturb you?
No, that part is aside. No moral judgments here. So let's move on. Let's figure that you have done your soul searching and you have come to the place where you now know where this extra cash flow is going to come from. So what are you doing? You are creating an active income to meet your needs. Now, if you've been stuck in survival mode for a long time, what do you think is going to happen next, Cam?
Depression.
Oh no, that's what happened in survival mode, along with the anxiety and all the negative emotions that come with lack.
Super depression.
What's going to happen? A midlife crisis was mine. But no, once you've moved through all of those terrible things that we all experience at different points in our lives.
Nihilism.
Oh dear. Stoicism, is that in there next? Or no. Okay. Just a little too optimistic in that one. Or I won't show any emotion at all.
I don't think anyone's ever called Stoicism optimistic.
Completely void of any emotion.
We've exceeded our philosophy references for this episode.
And as you'll note, Cam is the resident philosopher, not me. He could
you mentioned Kant is all downhill. I told you that at the beginning of the episode.
It's not going very far. So let's get back to how you can get out of this cycle. So you've created that extra cash flow. You know where it's coming from. What is the number one temptation now? Let's say it a little bit differently.
Spend it all.
Absolutely. Lifestyle creep is going to get you.
Followed by show them all.
Well, that's been happening to get you out of this. You need some motivation to get out of a hole, and that motivation, unfortunately, is usually negative. But sometimes it's, yes, absolutely. I want to impress someone. I want to impress my family. I want to impress myself, my spouse. I want to just have better things. This is where people get stuck. So you find yourself for the first time in a long time with more money than ever in the bank, and suddenly, as if by magic, you have nicer stuff. You're eating better food, you have a bigger house, you've taken a larger vacation, and you're back in the same trap. Your expenses have increased, and you're back in survival mode because now you've tasted that new luxury and you don't want to go back to where you were before. So the core problem here is that extra income has not gone towards buying or creating assets. It's gone towards creating more expenses and a higher lifestyle and a higher expectation that now you're going to have to work even harder to meet. So now you're grinding again. You're in the hustle. You're earning more money. You're trying to level up your business. You're trying to level up your life again. And hopefully next time, after you learn the lesson going through it, it won't be to buy more stuff.
Yeah, so this is the first big hurdle to get through where, yes, you want to increase your quality of life. You want to have the things you couldn't have before, but you have to really throttle your spending or it's really easy to get back in the same hole you were in before, just with some nicer stuff or more expensive stuff or just a bigger amount of debt.
Well, that's it. And we're not saying that moving up in life is bad. Absolutely not. We've done it ourselves. There's absolutely nothing wrong with giving yourself and your family the best lifestyle that you can.
Yes, we moved on from St. Norbert, Manitoba.
Yeah, find it on a map, people.
Good luck.
It's quite the move. Yeah. But the truth is that it's all about, like you said, creating a good life for your family, for your future. But you have to get to a point where you're like, this is enough. I am comfortable now. I can live with this level of comfort, of middle class, of whatever it might be. It's good now. Because the reason you got stuck, the reason you didn't make forward is you were buying depreciating assets or you were buying too much of maybe a good thing, but that's the problem. So now the mentality switch that has to happen is away from buying depreciating assets or liabilities and buying appreciating assets, looking for ways to put this extra money, even if you have to grind all over again to create a new margin and restart the cycle. You're not buying a monthly payment for your car now, or you're not buying a new payment for your lease. You're buying something that will then grow for you and create wealth for the future. Think of it like a business or a rental or even an investment in the markets that'll pay a dividend or a coupon on a bond, something that will give you something back, if not today, in the future. So you can earn more, or you can cut in expenses and keep the game the same. But basically, either way, there has to be that cash flow to get you free from this cycle.
Yeah, and a lot of this is that big shift in mentality of, do I want to buy something enjoyable? Do I want to buy something that is going to generate a revenue so I could buy more enjoyment later on? So some people go into investing, some people go into real estate, some people open a corporation, a business, some people do some sort of side hustle or what, but it is what is going to give you the most appreciating income and wealth and revenue over time. But you have to be willing to kind of sacrifice a little bit today to enjoy more tomorrow.
That's it. You're putting your money into an asset, not into a liability or not into something that you own that could depreciate over time. That's the mentality switch. That's the biggest change, and that has to occur in how you're thinking. And when you get to this stage, when you get to this level, your life should look the same to anyone peeking in your windows, to your friends, to your family, to your neighbors. You're earning more. You've leveled up, but no one is going to see it. And now you're creating this great secret that only you and your family will know, that you're building lasting wealth. You're building something that will one day allow you to stop working. You're creating a legacy for your kids, but your lifestyle looks the same because you've decided that cash flow is flowing in a direction that will invest in something that will grow and build with you and for you over time. And time is always your best friend in this. So we always encourage people to start doing that hard look right away. Do that hard look today and figure out the next steps.
Yeah, and hopefully these next steps are things that you actually enjoy, or it could be a skill set that you're not using in your regular 9-to-5 job or other areas of life. So hopefully you can use what you want to do and kind of use it to supplement these areas. Like I had a great uncle where on the surface, he was just a wheat farmer in southern Saskatchewan, but by night he was an aeronautical engineer who would build World War II planes for museums. And that's how he made a secondary income. That's not the little models, like the fully flyable ones.
That's quite the superhero power that he had. And we actually visited him once in Saskatchewan.
Several times.
And it was pretty amazing. Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see what he would have in one of those sheds in the back that you would never think housed historical replicas.
The shed was an airplane hangar, but still, this is having a day job, which may seem mundane that people will just not care about or just seem normal, and then just being able to use your skills in another way to support your family, even if it's just an elaborate, extravagant way like that.
Well, hobbies that pay are always good, but what we're looking for is that reliable margin. And I mean, Cam tells me all the time, because I'm one to follow my passions in a big way. Bring it back down to reality. Do people want this? Is it going to be useful for anyone? Are you doing this as a hobby, or are you doing this to benefit someone else? So you need those gut checks. You need a Cam in your life to make sure that you keep going in the right direction. I certainly do. But regardless of where the money's coming from, pay yourself first. This is time-tested wisdom, and this is not a drill. This is the most powerful thing that you can do for yourself today. And we have found ourselves in the trap of, as the lifestyle has increased, as the expenses have increased, you're last on your list and you pay everybody else first. No, it has to be an automatic payment into a separate account for your future that's then going to be used to build something appreciable. So how do you do this? You reverse engineer it. You think about where you want to go, create a timeline with the money you have available, and you'll know automatically if what you're doing is realistic or not. Do you need more money, or do you need more time? Which of the moving parts do you have to manipulate to get to the outcome you need? And this is actually part of our financial planning process at Braun. It's part of our 5-step plan. It's the goal setting mode, where we reverse engineer goals with you to figure out what you can realistically accomplish, and then change the circumstances in reality to get you where you need to go. So once you've created that margin, you have to make sure that you're using it to move forward. Make your focus creating wealth.
Yeah, and another way to kind of get your head around all this is understanding, well, cash flow and how different things will make money in different ways, and what will be sustainable, what will run out, and what will appreciate in time.
Well, yeah, and different people with different goals will pick different asset classes to serve those goals. So some people might be looking for an asset that replenishes every month and actually pays them an active income now. And if they have the ability to do so, something like a real estate investment might be a good fit to meet that criteria. Other people might be more interested with the reinvestment of what they're having, and maybe they want to invest in the stock market or in specific sector or companies, and say they find stocks that pay dividend. They may choose to reinvest them because they're less concerned with the cash flow now, and they're more concerned with maximizing that pool of wealth because they want to draw down on it when they retire.
Or some people might just want to do things very simply and they just turn to like bonds or GICs, where it's just put it in, get your coupon, get your interest, and cash it out.
Absolutely. But when you're picking an asset class, the most important criteria for you should be, what level of effort will this require of you? If you're doing a rental investment, are you the one swinging the hammer? Are you paying a property management company? Is there enough margin in your investment to do that? What's your timeline? Do you want to be in this property for 25 years, the duration of your mortgage, and potentially longer? Or are you planning to sell? That might affect what you decide to pick. What is the taxation of that asset on sale? Because that's going to determine what's left over for you. And also, what is the level of appreciation that we've seen historically with that type of asset class? And of course, that's no guarantee of the future. No one knows what tomorrow holds. No one knows, but we can look at what's happened in the past and said, okay, well, this was reasonable at this point in time. Maybe it's what we could reasonably expect going forward.
Yeah, and the downside to all this is you have to put in the work. You have to figure things out. You got to get the plan together. You got to get the information together. You got to get your own understanding together, or just outsource it to ChatGPT and ask them to do a business plan and hope it's actually real.
Yeah. Hope it's not built on fake case law and things that don't actually exist in this world yet. Well, and businesses, like I said, are, I think, some of the most tax efficient incorporated businesses are some of the most tax efficient and wonderful ways to build wealth if you're planning on being very heavily, actively invested in this. And anyone starting a business knows there is a tremendous amount of time and investment. And I actually read recently that a lot of people would be happier if they didn't own a business because of all of the responsibilities that go with it. But it's an incredible tool. And once you have them running and in the place that you want, and you know your industry very, very well, this can be a smooth machine that creates wealth for a lot of people. Businesses can give great margins, and the tax rates are much lower than earning personal income. And there's a lot of deductions that you can take for legitimate expenses that your business has that helps so much versus trying to do it all yourself on your own personal tax return.
Yeah, and we know there's interest for people out there because our big everything all about small business episodes still are our highest rated watched show. So we know this is something that people are looking at and considering, especially if you don't have the money for real estate or you just don't want to deal with being a landlord. Businesses is kind of like the second best option right now, or investing, or just having money to start with.
Well, that's it. And we've talked on previous shows of if you want easy stocks and bonds or managed funds or ETFs are kind of the easiest way to get in with a low amount of capital right away, right? So that's, I think, why they're so popular. You can do a lot of research yourself. You can pay someone else to do it. But in terms of the actual management of the investment once it's purchased, a lot of people are kind of set it and forget it types, right? You can work with firms like ours where there's a lot of process of an active mind picking and repicking and shuffling the deck and then shuffling it again as things change. But that's a whole other story for another day.
I found there's two groups. There's set it and forget it, and there's set it and freak out about it.
Set it and call us every time the market moves. Yeah. Or set it and learn and relearn and relearn and relearn again. But education in all of this is so important. So we're happy you're here today listening to the show because that is a huge step. Understanding is the knowledge that you need. Understanding is the power that you need to kind of get yourself to that next level. So what point are we trying to make? Whatever your day job is, whatever your active source, and by active source, I mean what you have to personally do to generate an income, whatever that is what should be used to create some type of margin to fund your passive source. And for a lot of us, bonus points, if you can take the money from your passive source and reinvest it again to get that thing even bigger. But this works best when you have two things going, when you have an active source, a job, an industry you're involved in, a business, whatever it might be, and also something on the side that is generating income for you, whether it's your stock portfolio or a real estate deal, or even a more passive type business, whatever you want. Active is fine too, but we like having two different sources and one feeds the other. So what is the goal that we're trying to get to? What is that holy grail that we're all trying to accomplish? Cam, I'll let you have a jab at that one.
Make more money?
Make more money, but I would say if you're going to test it, when your passive income, so money you do not have to work for, you do not have to sweat for, you do not have to show up at 9 o'clock and stay till 5 o'clock for, exceeds your expenses and your income need, you are free, regardless of your age. In my mind, this is the definition of freedom. You can still be working. You can still be grinding. Maybe you love the hustle. I do. You can still go for it, but you're no longer relying on that income to survive. And survival mode is so far behind you. And the sweetness of all of this is when the passive income, the income coming in from something you've done in the past, is strong enough to pay some of your bills for you. That is so far from survival mode because now your past actions are paying your bills. Your past actions are funding your retirement needs. Your past actions are letting you pay for that vacation. And that feels so good for a lot of people to see that wealth, to see their rate of return grow, to see how that what they've built is continuing beyond the effort that they made.
Yeah, if you want like a gardening analogy, there's a difference between planting an annual and planting a perennial. One you plant, it comes up and it's gone, and the other one, it just keeps coming back. And that's what you want with your investments, with your smart cash flow decisions, is for this income, this stability to keep coming every single year as long as you need it or want to give it away to someone else.
Absolutely. And that's why I love incorporated businesses. And that's why I love real estate. It really is that simple. Is it easy to do? Absolutely not. Can this take decades? It can be your whole working career to achieve. Absolutely, yes. Is this dedication? Is this late nights? Is this doing things you don't want to do? Yes. Is this having to hire a lawyer and an accountant and a good financial planner? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yes, absolutely. It's not hard in concept. It's simple to understand, but it is a grind to do. So this is where the dedication and the clarity on the why you're doing it is so important. And never underestimate the power of good advice. I still take recommendations from my lawyer and my accountant because I'm not an expert at everything. I'm good at staying in my lane. I know what I'm good at, but I need other professionals to guide me as I make my business decisions. And so do you, so do we all. None of us can be good at everything all of the time.
Yeah, so hopefully this is making sense to a lot of you, but I guess what is one way to kind of cap all this off so we can have something that we can take and go out and apply, or just listen to this episode 5 more times?
Yeah, so maybe this one was a little bit more conceptual than what we usually do on the show, but that's okay.
It's a 30-minute show.
Some big picture thinking is so important to get the vision right, to get that grand objective right. And the details are the actual steps that you're going to take in the day-to-day to do it. They're very different things, but if we can get you to think big picture today, then that is what we wanted to accomplish. So summary, what are you doing in practice? So you are going to take the cash flow that you created to get out of survival mode when you were grinding hard, but rather than spending it on today, and rather than buying another liability or buying a depreciating asset, you are going to buy an appreciating asset. You are going to buy something that creates wealth for you. So you are going to go through your budget and set aside the amount of money that will meet that goal, whatever that goal is, and you're going to transfer it regularly into a different account until you have enough for that down payment or to buy those ETFs or those managed funds or that stock. And you're going to take this action consistently until the assets start growing themselves and generate either a rate of return or an income that can then be reinvested to continue the cycle for you. So this is where your assets are now working harder than you are on their own growth. And maybe you're working with a financial planner like us. Maybe you're managing it yourself, but you are watching this grow and you're evaluating how much effort you have to put into this. Is this sustainable in my retirement? Minimal effort is always preferred in this. Now, when your asset is grown to the point where it can buy more assets, your target is to have those assets, whatever they may be, create enough income to cover your expenses. When you can live on the income generated by your passive investments, you have won at life. This is the holy grail. You're financially free at that point in time. You can retire tomorrow if you want to. And even if you continue to hustle because you love the grind, that was your decision. Now, bonus points in a big way if the assets that you've purchased are something you can transfer to the next generation. A lot of us with kids have a big mind to generational wealth, something that will serve me and serve my kids long term, maybe even their kids one day. This is freedom. This is financial planning at its finest, because it's not just trying to set up something to help you today. It's trying to set up something to help you retire, help you during retirement, and then help the next generation. If you and your financial planning team can think this far into the future, this multi-generationally, you can do incredible things for your family name, and your wealth. You can maximize experiences today because you're spending passive money that you've worked on in the past, or right now, I suppose, if our timeline is a little timey-wimey, to create them over time. So if you'd like to talk about things like this, and you're in BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, or the Yukon, find us at braunfinancial.com. There are a few things that we look for in clients as well, because we want to pick people that want to work with us over the long term to build wealth. If you meet the criteria, and if we feel that we'd be a good fit to work together, hopefully we can help you create your own wealth plan and take those next steps. And if you just want to learn and listen to the podcast, by all means, join us along for the ride. So until next time, take care.
And all the best.